My name's Keith, and I'm an alcoholic. As of June 27th, I have 3 years. That is one of many miracles God has been fortunate enough to bless me with, that I'm fortunate enough to have received from God. Excuse me. But starting off, I refused to go to recovery places. I wasn't that bad. I could keep a roof over my head and pay my bills and still stay high all the time, but I wasn't that bad. I wasn't an addict. I wasn't an alcoholic. I had a lot of success in my life early on through alcoholism that kept me fooled to that point that, no, I'm not an alcoholic. Alcoholism affected me so bad, that spiritual malady affected me so bad that if I wasn't drinking, I was trying to find a way to deal with my head, to not be in my head, whether it was being violent with people, it wasn't always bad, because there were times like I would just overwhelm myself trying to help everybody, but I wasn't helping myself. And as long as I kept myself out of my head, I didn't care, because being up here was a nightmare. So as long as I had something to deal with that aspect of it, nothing else mattered. The successes didn't matter. I thought that would make me happy. I had my own business by the time I was 20 years old, bought my own house by the time I was 20 years old. I went in the Marine Corps thinking that would snap me out of it, would make me happy. Didn't work. Children, didn't work. And then I had something happen to me that kind of sent me into a downward spiral real bad. I started having some health issues. I lost the use of my hands. I lost the use of my legs. I'm not supposed to be able to walk right now, so anyone that says miracles aren't possible, right here. Living proof. We're all living proof in this room that miracles can happen. Called Eyes Wide Shut. Once you open them eyes, once those eyes get open, you see a lot of things you didn't think was possible. You realize what can actually happen given the opportunity and the chance. But I stumbled through life. I would find people to get violent with. I would drive around at night looking for a-holes that were beating on women just to beat on them, to give me a reason to put hands on somebody. Someone right down here can tell you all about that one, because that's how we actually originally met years ago. But my life now, compared to what it was, is crazy. How I got into the 12 steps was crazy. I wound up getting incarcerated, went in front of a judge. Now, I had BS judges into thinking, oh yeah, I'd go into a treatment center. As soon as I get released, nah, I'm back out to the streets. And it wouldn't matter, because while I was in there, being incarcerated, you want to do anything you can to get out of there. Honestly, you're willing to do anything you can to get out of there. And yeah, I could take a lie detector test in there. And it would be honestly, sincerely, that I wanted to get help. I didn't want to be who I was. But as soon as I got on the streets, hey, let me go. I know where I can go. I can take care of this right now, and we'll do the recovery stuff later. We'll do the treatment center later. Well, June 23rd, 2022, Supreme Court judge, I had somebody owe me some money, so I thought it was a good idea to go take some collateral to get me to pay them, to get them to pay me. Because that's the way my mind thought. I was going to get even, one way or the other. Well, the judge looked over my file. He's like, I'm not having this. You're going to a level 4 treatment program. What? So I'm thinking it's Crest or whatnot, and it's they turned CVOP into CCTC, Community Corrections Treatment Center. And this is my mind thought. Then I'm like, yeah, okay, like this is going to do something. You got jokes. Well, I go in there, and I wound up meeting some guys at that point in time in their life. They honestly wanted to not be who they were again. And the program that they have in there, you're going to get what you put into anything. But the program that they have, it didn't feel right to me. And I'm sitting here, I'm actually honestly praying to God in here, wanting an answer. And somebody comes in from meeting with a counselor or something, they got this little AA placard. It's got like 20-some questions on it. If you're an alcoholic, like, yeah, sure, something to do, you know? So I go through this thing, and I answer these questions. I'm like, oh, damn, I might be an alcoholic here, you know? Not just an addict, an alcoholic. 6 of one, half dozen the other, really. Just because your poison's different, the mentality's the same, you know? Well, me and some guys get together, and we decide to try to get the AA 12 steps into their program. And we successfully did. We had to write up a curriculum and everything, and we had like 13 guys who met core every week, and we went through the book. We went through every step. We shared our 4th step with each other. We had to get help from one of the counselors in there who happened to be a member of AA, and she helped us to do the 4th step properly, because we didn't, like, you know, there were some aspects of that still kind of befuddled us. Needless to say, 13 guys sitting down with a dictionary looking up words out of the AA Alcoholics Anonymous book was an interesting thing. But we actually got through it. And to this day, last time I talked to them, all 13 of us are still sober. Well, when I got out, I went to CCD, still not knowing what I was going to do, not knowing how I was going to do it. Like a wild cat that got put in a cage for a while and then let back out and didn't know which way to go. I'm from down in Sussex, and I decided to come up this way because I knew if I went back down in Sussex, the odds of me actually staying sober were slim to nil. And I knew that because I knew everybody down there. You know, I knew where I could get anything I wanted to at any given point in time I wanted to. So I decided to come up here. And I think it was my 2nd week in there. I met Zach. We talked. And I asked him then about becoming my sponsor. And then I had some issues with a staff member that got hired at CCD. So I wound up handling a situation not quite as well as I could have handled it. I mean, I had good points, but the way I was verbalizing them, they didn't think too highly of. So yeah, I was still just a tad on the wild side, to put it mildly. But I wound up getting dropped off at Sunday Breakfast Mission, which I don't advise anybody going there. If you haven't been there, yeah, not a good place. But I'm sitting here, I'm praying, I'm like, what am I going to do? And then it just come right to me. Call a friend of mine. I knew he was in Oxford. They just opened up another Oxford house. And I got in there. Within 24 hours, my stuff went from the Bridge Clinic in Newcastle, where they were holding on to it for me, to Oxford House Sarah. And I was in there. So I'm like, okay, this is where you want me at, God. What's next? And come to find out, it wasn't that he wanted me there, but it was a place for me to kind of get my head on a little bit better balance, a little bit better keel. Give me a lot of time to pray and meditate. But I couldn't get everything rolling there. You know, Oxford, you got to pay by the week and everything. So I wound up in Impact Life because I didn't want myself to get in the hole with Oxford. The jobs I was getting was like barely even covering my rent. So I reached out to Nick in Impact Life, and he's like, yeah, we got a bid available now. Now, I tried to before, and there wasn't a bid available. So this is like, okay, this has got to be where he wants me at. I move over there. I was there probably a few months. Then I reconnect with Zach. We start going through my step work. And things started changing in me. Who I was in the past isn't who I was being. I wasn't as easy to violence. Actually, come into a situation, walking in town, a guy putting his hands on a girl. And my first reflex wasn't just knock the crap out of him, because that's how I would do it. I wouldn't give you a chance to square up with me to fight. I'm going to knock you down. I'm not going to say a word to you. I'm just going to hit you. But I handled the situation in a way that I didn't think was possible for me. I got into the middle of it, and I talked it out. I made sure she was all right. I made sure he understood. You don't put your hands on a woman like that, you know? And then I walked back home, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, who the heck was that? Because that wasn't me. That almost brought tears to my eyes, because it was just like, it had me so screwed up in my head in a way, because it was like, this is who I am now. That change in me was one heck of a spiritual experience. Realizing that my prayer and meditation was working. That it might have not been a change every day, but from the time I got out to then who I wasn't the same person. I felt differently. Things touched me differently. And the situation with the coin, I'm kind of glad I got brought up, because that was another spiritual experience I had. More than just alcohol has been my longest running home group. I've been serving them for probably 2.5 years now. We had a Sunday meeting that I started running myself. And one night I had a guy come in there. He had just come from PA. He was homeless for a few days because he had to wait a few days before he could move in. But he wasn't even sure he was going to move into where he was talking about. But he had a year that night. And at that point in time, more than just alcohol, didn't do year coins. We did 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. And I had my year coin in my wallet. And I was sitting there with the meeting, and I seen the way he acted, like how it was affecting him, not having that year coin, you know? And it just come over me. I pulled that coin out of my wallet, and I'm like, here. So this is my coin. Just take it. You need it. And that brought tears to his eyes. And that touched me in a way that I've never been touched in my life, you know, seeing what that did for him. Seeing my willingness to give up something that meant so much to me, because I made that milestone, but I knew he needed it. And I was working on, I think, 18 months then. And that's where it clicked in my head, like, you're going to get your 18-month coin. You don't have to have that 1-year coin. He needs it. And that's what I did. And at that point on, I went online and I ordered coins. to keep on me, 1 year through 10 years, typically. Now, when I know somebody's got something else coming out that's further, I'll grab a coin for it. But there's been quite a few people that I've been able to touch, being able to do that for them. Because a lot of people go into these meetings when they have years, and they don't expect that. But it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling to actually be able to step away from myself and honestly help somebody just to get them to a better place than where they're at. And if it wasn't for my God, I wouldn't be that person today. I've got less now than I ever had, but I'm happier now than I've ever been. I've got an amazing woman in my life. I've got a job, steady cash. I don't make a whole killing of money, but I'm able to take care of her, me, take care of whatever we need. Surviving without a comfortable surviving, so I should say. And I'm trying to figure out how to manage money better than what I have been. I'm doing better than what I used to, but it's all a work in progress. I've got my financial obligations to the state that I'm slowly working down, whittling down. And none of that would be possible without God. None of what I have right now would be possible. And I recognize that. And I know every day, I'm not a perfect Christian by no means. I've got times that the way I talk, you wouldn't think I knew anything about God. But it's progress. It's not perfection. It's not about being perfect. It's about being able to step outside of your ego and realize that there's something out there bigger. And that bigger thing will help you if you're open and willing to have that dialogue with them and have those ears open so you can hear his direction. And I know as long as I do that, I'll be good. Nothing else matters. God puts me where he needs me. It's like tonight. My girl, she had, I think, 2 weeks to based on speaking tonight. Me, I had a few hours, which, hey, that's good with me. I give him a standing invitation for that. I'm like, look, you need me, I'm there, no matter what it is. And it's an amazing gift to be able to do this. It's an amazing gift to be able to be up here and talk to people and hope at least one thing comes out of my mouth that's usable to them, that helps them. Because that's why we do this. This is why we sponsor. This is why we're of service. And as long as we keep moving forward and doing the next right thing, we're going to be good. I know it in my heart. We're going to be good. And that's all we got to keep doing. And as long as we keep doing that, the blessings are going to keep coming. The help's going to keep coming. It's right there. And all we got to do is have our eyes open, our ears open, and look for the messages, look for the signs. Talk about it with them. Because as long as we do that, he's going to help us. He was helping me, and I wasn't even having a communication with him. So I know he's going to help me if I'm having a communication with him. So, I mean, that's it. That's all we got to do. It's just keep that communication. Try to keep helping other people. Think of more than just ourselves. Because we are so much more than just ourselves. And once we realize that, once we accept that, and once we put that forward, we're going to get to see and experience things we didn't think were possible. I guarantee you. I know I have. I know there's probably a lot of people in this room that has. Thanks for letting me share.